Hey, friends. Hey, Fred. Hey, Paul. Hey, Colette. Hey, Ruth. I just want to check in and make sure that you all can hear me okay. So just put like a little something in the chat to make sure that I'm coming through. Thank you, Fred. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, my friends, both my friends that are here live, and maybe some friends that'll be watching this later. Oh, it's such a joy to be with you all and to guide as Andrew is still on his wonderful travels. So I believe that Andrew is, where did he say he was in his last email? I think he said he was in the Weddell Sea, north of the Weddell Sea, and maybe headed to the South Georgia Island, I think. So I think that's maybe where Andrew is. So I'll do a little introduction to those that may not know me. I'm Brooke. Hello and hey and howdy and peace. So good to be with you all. I guided a couple weeks ago, and then Ralph guided last week. And it's so cool to keep this going while Andrew's away, because it's so important to, I don't know, keep a routine going in community, in Sangha with folks. So this is a treat. Yeah, how is everyone today? So how are you all in the chat? I think we'll do a little bit of like, in our meditation today, we'll do a little bit of a checking in with ourselves, like real radical checking in. Paul, thanks for remembering Zen. He's probably going to join us. Yeah, my cat who wonderfully joined us in meditation a couple weeks ago. He tends to do that. He tends to want to jump on my lap when I'm meditating, and it's brilliant. So awesome. Hey, Gabrielle. Yes, it's so good to see all these wonderful names in the chat, whatever direction it's in. Ruth, your cat is already meditating. Actually, I bet that's what Zen's doing out in the living room. Yeah, I bet he's meditating a little bit. Yeah, so just a quick introduction. I actually, I realized that I didn't even really share with you all how I know Andrew. So it's pretty cool, actually. Obviously, our connection is Jeff Warren. About 4 years ago, I was in this great online training that Jeff Warren did on. It was just a how to guide training. So, how do you guide meditation? Just kind of taking us through his brilliance on how to do this thing that is such an honor, which is to guide folks in meditation in this practice. And Andrew was there. So I've known Andrew for 4 years. We've kept in touch. We've meditated together. We've just kind of shared our adventures of life. And I just love that he's doing this whole thing and keeping this community, because most of you all meditate with Jeff Warren for the Do Nothing Project on Sundays. And so that's, once a week. And to keep it going with like a couple times a week is just so awesome. I don't know if you all feel this way, but the only way that I can really sustain my meditation practice is in community, is in the sense of, do I have other people that will like hold me accountable to some degree? And it helps so much. So truly grateful. Um, yeah, and so I'm a teacher. I think I shared with you a couple weeks ago. I teach high school math. I guide meditation occasionally, um, and yeah, I'm just a meditator and a teacher and a human and a really messy and perfect one. And I think those make kind of pretty decent guides, meditation guides, actually. Um, so, yeah, I don't really jive with meditation instructors who kind of feel like they've got everything perfectly going on right in their life because I don't resonate with that. So yeah, I'm also a huge fan of nature. I love to go outside and go hiking and go backpacking. So I'm fresh on this kind of planning this next adventure for my summer vacation. We're going to backpack. My husband and I are going to backpack the Swiss Alps. We're going to start in Chamonix, right by Mont Blanc, and we're going to backpack for 12 days, kind of across Switzerland, and end at kind of the base of the Matterhorn in Zermatt. So pretty excited about that. Pretty stoked about it. We're kind of in the planning phases of that, and yeah, so I'm stoked. I'm excited, and yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'd love to. I wish this was more of like an interactive. But if you all have anything that you have been up to lately that you feel is like sustaining you, bringing you joy, bringing you a sense of like looking forward to something, I'd love to hear about it. So feel free to share that in the chat. If you're watching this later, just maybe tune into that. What in your life is kind of sustaining you right now? Yeah, so I was also thinking about, preparation for today, kind of thinking about, who in terms of meditation teachers, who inspires me. So clearly Jeff Warren, Andrew Leonard's, he's amazing. I thought Ralph's guidance last week was super inspiring and awesome, his version of the do nothing. And Sebene Selassie. So I don't know if you all are familiar with Sebene, but she's pretty good friends with Jeff Warren. She's a rad human. And I felt like I wanted to bring a little bit of inspiration from her book. So she's got this great book called You Belong. And it's kind of like my Bible right now. It's awesome. Yeah, and she is on the 10% Happier app. You're right, Paul. Yeah, she's so great. She is so knowledgeable. She mentions the Pali word for mindfulness is sati, and she mentions this in her book. And some scholars have translated that word to mean remember. And she points out in her book the idea of remember. So remember, like putting ourselves back together again. So I kind of like that. I like that sense of, what is practice? Is practice like kind of falling apart, because that's human, and then coming back and remembering this simple practice, remembering kind of this simple way of being. And can we let that be our ground, right? So I love that. So maybe that's a bit of inspiration for our practice today, if that sounds good to you all. And a couple of weeks ago, we did a bit of grounding in the body, right? Yeah, beginning again, right? That idea of beginning again. Thank you, Fred. That's exactly it. Can we remember to just begin again? And that's the invitation that's always there, right? So I'd love to do just a little practice around that today. This idea of grounding in our awareness and remembering to come back. It's okay if you get lost, come back. So I'll do a short, kind of guided practice today. I guess we'll stick with the 25 minutes that we usually do. And Yeah, and we'll do that. But my guidance, just like we always do, if you've got your own practice that you'd prefer to do, feel free to do that. It's just nice to be in community together to practice. So yeah, we'll see if my sound works today. It worked last time, so hopefully the bell will work. So we'll do a 25 minutes here. Go ahead and find a comfortable position, something that feels sustaining. You can lay down, you can stand, you can do this in movement too, so you can walk, sit, whatever feels comfortable for you. And here we go. So we'll kind of really start slow here, really set the pace for just being here together, and just being here. You can bring some alertness on the inhale here, bringing in some of that nice kind of oxygenating air into the lungs, into the belly, and letting the out breath be nice and slow. And the eyes can be open or closed, kind of this real permission to be however you want to be right now. Allowing the breath to be natural. And it might be nice here to just kind of maybe even invite some softening, some relaxation, some easefulness into the body for this time here, this practice time. So on the next exhale, just seeing if you can soften the forehead, soften the cheeks, the jaw, the shoulders, the belly. Just inviting this idea of ease, this idea of there's nothing I have to do right now. Just let that be kind of a invitation to be loose. And so just check in here. Maybe be curious, what's happening internally? Are there thoughts, maybe lots of thoughts or only a few? And what's the energy like? Is it, is there high energy, or are you tired? Or is it neutral energy? Just take a minute and check. How are you in this moment? And sometimes we're not so clear, and that's normal. Often, the patterns and the activity that's going on can often be pretty subtle. So that said, this simple act of being curious and looking is already grounding us. And if we can notice a thought or a feeling or a pattern, then really what that means is that we're not entirely inside of it. So, in this way, our own awareness is kind of a ground. So, can we rest back in that ground? And so, it might be helpful here in kind of this invitation to choose one simple home base, maybe a simple body sensation or a sound to pay attention to. Maybe it's the feeling of the hands or the feeling of the feet on the floor or the breath going in and out, maybe through the nostrils. Maybe it's the hum of a fridge or a vent or distant traffic. Maybe it's that blank or maybe just subtle light behind the eyes. Invitation here is to kind of choose a home base. Choose a place to settle your attention as you continue to get settled. So try it out. And of course, the mind wanders or gets distracted, and that's no big deal. This idea of begin again, that invitation that's always there. So the mind wanders, you come back. You notice your home base from your ground. And the wandering and the coming back, that is really the rhythm of practice. Can we remember? Can we remember? Forget, come back. Keep going. And breathing, knowing you're breathing. Feeling, you're feeling. And hearing, you're hearing. That knowing is your ground. And so as you sit with your home base, be curious. What else may be happening in your mind and body? Maybe a compelling thought, maybe an old emotion, maybe an itch or some twinge or tightness, kind of tugging at your attention. Each distraction is like a flower blooming from the ground of your awareness. It grows and changes, and you accept it as part of life, as part of this moment. And they are all parts of just your experience, but not the whole of it. They don't take you over because you are the ground. Remember, all we're doing right now is just being the ground. Can you just be the ground, this solid, aware presence, all sounds and thoughts and sensations just blooming up through you while you remain steady and present. Just be the ground. So sometimes this practice feels easy and natural. Other times it's the hardest thing a human being can do. It's like our entire history has taught us to unconsciously identify with all those blooming flowers, the thoughts, and the feelings and the behaviors. We often think this is who I am. And it seems preposterous to think or imagine otherwise. But then meditation adds this depth and ground to our experience. And we start to get curious about our own awareness as the place out of which everything is blooming and moving. And this awareness, the one you're in right now, becomes a kind of ground to rest in. Be the ground. And so for these last few minutes here of practice, Just cultivating a little bit of gratitude here for whatever comes through. So whatever you notice, if I say this word gratitude, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a person that you interacted with today. Maybe it's this community. Maybe it's a pet or a food you had to eat for lunch. And so what gets stirred up in your awareness and your ground here? That idea of gratitude. And it's okay if kind of nothing really comes up. That's totally cool too. I'm just recognizing that. It's all good. And just letting things bubble up, things that you might feel naturally inclined to express a bit of gratitude for if they come up. Maybe just saying thank you. If it doesn't feel too cheesy, maybe even just kind of thanking yourself here. Or even if it does feel cheesy, do it anyways. Do the experiment, this idea of really thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your practice. Expressing some gratitude for yourself. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you. So I think, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Fred. Gabrielle, your cat joined in right at the gratitude part. Fantastic. Gosh, that like field of like the cat knows you are grateful for me and you better know it. Right? Yeah, rock on, man. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Thank you. So just a bit of housekeeping, I guess. So we've got one more. Yeah, it's very cat-like, Gabrielle. We have one more week. So next week, the 21st, is going to be Ralph again. So he's going to guest host again. And then Andrew should be back in February. So yeah, so I think hopefully Andrew will get around to posting a few pictures as soon as he's in an area that he can. I mean, he's on the ship right now, I think. So, oh, Ralph's last name, Ruth, is Androdas. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Androdas. So, Androdas. Andra. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Androdas. I think that's how you spell it. Yeah, so he is a Unified Mindfulness coach, just like Andrew, trained in the same system. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has a free guided session tonight in an hour through Amazing. So, Ruth, yeah, where is that? Is that on Zoom or is that? Yeah, if you have some info, cool. Because I'm in a space right now where I want to continue practice, so I might join. Awesome, Ruth. Yeah, drop the link in there. If not, we can probably search it, right? When we get off of here. But that's fabulous. Great. Yeah, so if you all want to keep the practice going with Ralph, it sounds like, what would that be? Would it be at 9 p.m. Eastern then? So in an hour from now, he would start. That's awesome. Friends, thank you so much. It's been an honor to guide you. Thank you for your patience and being accepting of somebody new and not Andrew. I really appreciate that. I love Andrew's guidance, and I'll be looking forward to him returning in a couple weeks. Great, Ruth. Yeah, so it looks like Ralph is guiding at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, so that is in about an hour. Oh, Paul, thank you. I do hope to see you all again. Yeah, I would love to guide again. Like I said, I'm doing this certification program. So I actually, let me share something really quick. So my practicum is coming up this year, and I'm going to be guiding a retreat and like an intro to mindfulness course. So there's like a couple pieces that I'm doing this year, and I'm not quite sure when. For my schedule as being a teacher, doing so in the summer would be the best. So I'm probably going to be doing that this summer. And there might be a online component. It might be through Zoom or partially, kind of hybrid, virtual and in person here in Cincinnati. So if it is, I will share the link with you all if you're interested in doing a little bit mindfulness meditation retreat. And I would be your guide. So I don't know if that's like a deterrent or a, hey, I want more. Whatever it is, I'll put that out there when I know more information. But yeah, thank you, friends. This has been a joy. And I hope that, we can have moments of remembering throughout our day, taking this off the cushion here, remembering our ground as we're moving about life, doing the things. Can we remember our ground? Can we remember resting in awareness? Yeah. Thank you, friends. All right. We'll see you next week. I'll probably be in the blue font when Ralph guides next week. All right. So peace, friends. Have a great week ahead, and we'll see you next week.